June 14th, 2018. Here I am again. It's my grandfather's birthday. It's been a great day. Got my flags up. Uh, Still flying that one in my room. My room's a mess. Just completely out of room. Need to clean all this stuff up. But anyways, so check this out. I want to talk about Father's Day. I want to talk about this guy. This guy, to some of you who will watch this, is Delmer Shannon Wood Jr. Born April 25th, 1952, to Delmer Wood Sr. and Velma Mae Wood, my grandfather and grandmother. This is my dad. Uh, 32 years he's been gone. He passed away October 1st, 1986. I have a few pictures here that are loose, found in an old album I have that my Aunt Donna gave me or my grandmother kept or somebody. Thank you. Thank you to whoever got these to me. I'm sorry I don't remember exactly how I acquired them. Maybe when my grandmother passed away, I got them. But just a little insight. My father was 34 years old when he passed away. He died of melanoma skin cancer. He was taking experimental treatments called interferon. Interferon was a 7-day trial treatment at the time when my father passed away. It later became a lifesaver. My wife is still here after melanoma skin cancer in 2005, diagnosed damn near to the day of my father's birthday. I believe we found out April 28th, April 29th, 2005. She started, took treatments, had many surgeries. Interferon saved her life. My dad was just a little too early. So this was my father, deep sea fishing. I'm gonna assume that it was in the San Francisco Bay. That's one photo. Just kind of a quick view of who my dad was, and some of these pictures just absolutely say exactly how he was. He was a joker. He was a character. This picture was taken, I would probably venture to say 1984, 1985, maybe somewhere in the 80s. That next to him, the big guy, is his cousin Mike Pennell. Unfortunately, the two guys in this picture passed away almost exactly 6 months apart. And now they rest for eternal life about 25 feet from each other. They were the best of friends. And you know the cap probably is not on that bottle. If I remember anything about my dad, he could put a bottle down in a hurry and still walk away, just like his boy. This is a picture of my father just a few blocks from here at my grandmother's house where I lived for 27 years, with me and my first bicycle when I was 5 years old. That's my dad. My dad was the type of guy that came up with an idea and he'd just find the materials and go do it. He'd just go build it. Got something in his mind and said, I'm going to do it. This picture here is one of the craziest ideas I ever seen him do. He built me a Halloween. He built me, I tell you, built me a Halloween costume. Have you ever seen anything like this? I was 11 or 12 years old. And he thought, well, how are you going to get the candy when we go to the door? And I'm thinking, how am I going to get to the door? So he cut a hole in the mouth, mounted a box underneath it, and painted all black and everything after this picture, and decided later that when we got to the door of a house, they would just drop the candy in the mouth, fall in the box. My arm stuck out the side, my legs stuck out the bottom, and there was a screen right here, a piece of black screen material that was built inside there, and I could see out of it. This is the kind of crazy shit that my dad did. And what's funny is it's the kind of crazy shit that I do. So those are a few pictures of my dad. This here, this is on my father's headstone right here. I was about a year and a half old. We lived on Davis Road. Me and my dad. Here's the smaller picture of the big one I showed you earlier, right there. Over here is my dad again. Let's see. My dad when he got into real estate and mortgage business, wearing a suit and tie, big red glasses, or big red beard and red hair, and his rose-colored glasses. Him as a kid, and here's one of the funniest pictures ever right here. You see this one? So he had surgery on his right shoulder to remove a mole that was cancerous, melanoma. But he still wanted to barbecue and he still wanted to be out in the sun. So he took a shirt and cut it off and wore it out in the sun, just like that. There he is barbecuing. He's got a hat on. Goofiest looking half shirt you ever seen. This was my dad. In a nutshell, always there, always something, always into something, and just a joy for everybody to be around. I've talked to a lot of people over the years, my family, my cousins, my dad's friends, people that I've met along the way that knew my dad that I didn't even know knew my dad. Not one of them has a bad thing to say about my dad. Nobody ever has a bad thing to say about him, ever. 34 years, and he touched the hearts of people. He touched them deep, deep down inside. He was like a god to people. That's how I've heard it expressed. That he was different. I miss him. 32 years. I'm 46 years old, and on Father's Day and his birthday, and October 1st, I still have my own crybaby moments. I've never gotten over it. Never. I never will. I'll carry it with me till I meet him again. I hope it's 40 or 50 years from now, but my time will come. Our time will come. He's waiting in heaven for me. He's watching me do this right now, which is probably why I have the strength to do it. And I'm proud of that. That's something that is bred into me. The strength to do things. Something I learned about my dad along the way is that my dad was an open book. If you were a friend, if you were a foe, if you were a whoever, it didn't matter. If you knew my dad, if you knew his name, if you came across him in a work situation, if you came across him in a friendly situation, in a hobby, any type of environment, you knew all about him. He loved to talk to people. I remember I was 10 or 11 years old, and 11, 12 years old, whatever, and we would come across people that I'd never met, friends of his, and he would stand there and talk for hours. And it's like, Where you know that guy from? I haven't seen him in 10 or 15 years. And just talk until his voice went out. And then you get together with my Uncle Mike Vanderpool, who sadly passed away. Truck driver. I always looked up to Uncle Mike. 6'8", 317 pounds. Stuffed his fat ass in a Peterbilt or a Kenworth truck. I don't remember what he drove. He drove a big yellow truck. The corner of Charterway and I-5, he had a yard. Balvan Trucking. I looked up to that man like you wouldn't believe. 34 years, him and my dad were the best of friends that friends could ever be. I loved him too. But I miss my dad. I often want to talk to people and find out, what am I missing? What is it about your father-son relationship that I'm missing? What part of it did I not get to see in my years? What have I missed? What do you talk about? How much does your dad know about you? My dad was the type of guy that he would talk. I can imagine now. He'd be calling me. I can see it now. He would probably be calling me and he would be saying, "What in the hell are you doing? What's his social media crap?" He'd be on Facebook too. And he'd be doing crazy crap. I know he would be. But he'd be asking me, "Why are you doing these videos? Why are you doing this crap?" Well, maybe I do this crap because of my own personal therapy. If my dad was here, maybe things would be different. Maybe not. Maybe I'd be the exact same guy I am. Maybe not. But I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm proud of who I turned out to be, and I know my dad would be proud of who I turned out to be. And that's all that matters. The rest of you can fuck off for all I care. Ride or die, bitches. I don't care. I have my family, and I have me, and I have the spirit of my father, and I have the spirit of my grandfather and my grandmother. I have things around me all the time that I see, and I'm like, that was my dad. Somewhere here I have a picture, and I can't find it. I've been looking for it all day. I'll find it. When I do find it, I'll share it with you. Most of you have seen it already, but I walk around this house right there. In some of my earlier videos, there was a gun cabinet behind me. It's to my right, 6 feet away. My dad built that in high school. There's my dad. My grandfather, when he died, left me a small 22. My grandfather and I bought this box of 22 shells when I was probably 13 or I was probably 14 years old. We shot these shells together. The ones that are still there are the ones that are still there. The ones that are missing, they're all up and down the levee over off 8 Mile and West Lane before there was ever houses over there behind AT&T. I remember the day we bought these. See? There's a piece of my grandfather right there. When you go out on my front porch, whenever there's a breeze, there's a wind chime right next to my chair that chimes off. And I've always told my wife, I know she gets irritated by it, but I've always told my wife that's my grandmother talking to us. Every once in a while around here, for some odd reason, a door will open. It's my Aunt Betty walking through the house. Sometimes you just go crazy. I have a lot of spirits that live around me, and I talk to them a lot. And it's not because I'm crazy. It's because I miss my family. I miss having those people around, and I've never been able to deal with it. And having this out here to be able to talk to you guys, and you guys watch the videos and stuff is almost like therapeutic for me. The only thing I'm missing is that I don't see any comments on my videos, and not like I really care. You don't have to comment on the videos. I know 270 people have watched these videos, probably more than that, because I've got over a couple hundred views on my YouTube and almost 300 views on my blog, and a lot of my views are coming off of Facebook and Google Plus and Twitter and blah 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 blah. Oh my god, so lost in this shit sometimes. But I'm having fun, and it's therapeutic. So about Father's Day, this will be my father died October 1st, 1986. So this will be the 31st year that he hasn't been here for Father's Day. I did get to enjoy 14 more years with my grandfather, 13 more Father's Days with my grandfather before he passed away. There was kind of a big void. I met my wife and my father-in-law and their family and everything in September. September 17th, 2000. My wife and I got together. I met her dad and I started working with him, and probably a year later, one day we were working on a job and somebody asked him a question, who's that or who's this? Or, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was. It's probably 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. And he turned, and without hesitation, he said, "That's my son." My father-in-law, his son, I don't know the exact date, but he had a son and was born sometime right around the time I was born, and at a very young infant age, died of a crib death. Would have been my wife's older brother. And 26, 27 years later, I come along. And since 2001, anytime anyone's ever asked Gary who I am, or was asking the dynamic of our situation or whatever it may be, because we're always together and we act alike and all this other stuff, and he says, "That's my son." I'm proud to call him my pops. He's an asshole sometimes, but so am I. He's an embarrassing prick ass sometimes, but so am I. That's probably why we get along so well. We fight. We've had our ups and downs, our knockdowns, our drag outs, our everything else, our not talking to each other for long periods of time. But in the end, when it all washes out, we're always back together. And the more I think about it, I'm pretty lucky to have him around. He needs something, I'm there. I need something, he's there. Nobody will ever substitute for my father or my grandfather. But my pops is a very good representation of the man that it would take to fill the shoes of those that aren't here. And hopefully he gets a chance to see this video and hear that I love him. And we'll probably barbecue and have a beer on Sunday. But he's a hell of a guy when it comes right down to it. A little out of his fucking mind sometimes, but he's all right. I don't think I'd ask for anything more. Anybody else. It's a great representation of what a father should be. And I'm glad he's been here for the last 18 years of my life to fulfill some things that uh, otherwise wouldn't have been fulfilled. It's been a difficult, long time. No mom. My dad passed away when I was young. My grandparents stepped in and did everybody that's been that close to me. My grandmother, my grandfather. After my dad passing away, my Aunt Donna. These people all stepped in to help shape and mold me into what I am today. Uh, as far as my peers go, my elders, my Aunt Donna, and my grandmother, my grandfather, and my father-in-law over the last 32 years have had more influence on who I am today than anybody. Um, my wife is special, very special to me. My kids are very special to me. I hope the ones that see this video understand you're all special to me in your own way. Whether I'm mad at you or whether we're not talking or we are talking and everything's fine or whatever the situation may be, you're all special to me. My children, my grandchildren, you all have had a hand in shaping me. And I'm proud to say that I'm Delmer Wood. There's nothing else to be said. I'm Delmer Wood, bitches. That's what it is. We're going to talk about it again. We're going to talk about Father's Day. We're going to talk about it with a group of people. We're going to do it from my front porch because I screwed the pooch on that video tonight. And yeah, just remember I'll be here. And, I'll be thinking about each and every one of you. Father's Day. I'll be thinking about my dad. I'll be toasting up with my pops. And hopefully we'll do a couple of interviews, maybe a father-son interview on Sunday of a couple of them this way and that way. And before we go bowling and take over first place this weekend. All right. Well, to my Father in heaven, my grandfather sitting up there with him, my grandmother, I love you. I love all of you. I'll never forget you as long as I live. My Aunt Donna, even though we don't talk on a regular basis anymore, we're not exactly on the same wavelength, whatever it is, I still love you. I'll love you until the day I die. Even when you're long gone, I'll still love you. My kids, Selena, Dell, Vanessa, Frankie, and Johnny, I love you guys. Y'all little assholes. But I still love you guys. Just, you got to know that. And to my wife, Becky, um, there's not even words that can express and explain how I feel. I love you to the moon and back. Love you, boo boo. My father-in-law, my mother-in-law, Gary and Mary Vickery. You guys, I don't ever say it, but you guys rock. And happy Father's Day, Pops. I love you. You know who it is. It's Delmer Wood. Peace out.